Hey guys, Slimber here, and today we are doing a video on Dinesh D'Souza. If you don't know who Dinesh D'Souza is, he is essentially I think he's a fucking historian. Historian. No, he's actually a political commentator. I just double checked that. So he's not even a historian, but he kind of pretends to be. He is known for saying a lot of bullshit that is called out by historians because he doesn't have a very good grasp on literally all of fucking human history or, just like American history or anything he tries to talk about, he doesn't really understand very well. His entire ideology is based off of conservative good, liberal bad. There's not much nuance in his ideology. But this video is a few years old. He did it for PragerU. And let's watch it. Let's see if leftists are really the fascists.
He's a fascist. For decades, this has been a favorite smear of the left aimed at those on the right. Every Republican president, for that matter, virtually every Republican, since the 1970s has been called a fascist, now more than ever. This label is based on the idea that fascism is a phenomenon of the political right. The left says it is, and some self-styled white supremacists and neo-Nazis embrace the label. But are they correct?
100% yes. It literally is a right-wing ideology. They hate literally anyone to the fucking left of them. They hate liberals, they hate Marxists, they hate anarchists. And they're fucking nationalist as fuck, which is a right-wing trait. Yes, it's a right-wing ideology. A far right-wing ideology, but nonetheless a right-wing ideology. Now, excuse me while I drink my blueberry lemonade mixed with vodka.
To answer this question, we have to ask what fascism really means. What is its underlying ideology? Where does it even come from? These are not easy questions to answer.
No, they're actually very easy questions to answer if you understand history. Where did the Nazis come from? Nationalism. Where did Mussolini come from? Nationalism. Look, you could try to make a shitty argument and be like, no, it was actually because Germany and Italy were in poverty. Which is dumb because the underlying root for fascism was nationalism. Otherwise, A, they would have stuck with liberalism, or B, they would have went to communism. But no, they went to fucking fascism because they were nationalist. They didn't fucking like people from outside their country, and they didn't like people from other fucking races. They were nationalist.
We know the name of the philosopher of capitalism, Adam Smith. We know the name of the philosopher of Marxism, Karl Marx. But who's the philosopher of fascism? Yes, exactly. You don't know. Don't feel bad, almost no one knows. This is not because he doesn't exist, but because historians, most of whom are on the political left, had to erase him from history in order to avoid confronting fascism's actual beliefs.
That's the dumbest fucking sentence I have ever heard. In order to avoid confronting fascism's actual belief. Like, what do you mean? It still exists, so they have to confront the fucking belief. It's still an ideology that exists, and in some part of the world is implemented. Before somebody says, no, Slimber, he's just saying they don't want to accept that the fascists, they're actually the leftists. Which would be a really fucking stupid point. So you can go ahead and delete your comment when you start commenting that. Because it's pretty fucking hard to ignore the entire ideology of a political belief on the political spectrum when it's literally in fucking power right now. I'm not saying it's in power here in America. I'm saying there are parts of the world where fascism is still in fucking power.
So let me introduce him to you. His name is Giovanni Gentile. Born in 1875, he was one of the world's most influential philosophers in the first half of the 20th century. Gentile believed that there were two diametrically opposed types of democracy. One is liberal democracy, such as that of the United States, which Gentile dismisses as individualistic, too centered on liberty and personal rights, and therefore selfish. The other, the one Gentile recommends, is true democracy, in which individuals willingly subordinate themselves to the state. Like his philosophical mentor Karl Marx, Gentile wanted to create a community that resembles the family, a community where we are all in this together. It's easy to see the attraction of this idea. Indeed, it remains a common rhetorical theme of the left. For example, at the 1984 convention of the Democratic Party, the governor of New York, Mario Cuomo, likened America to an extended family, where, through the government, people all take care of each other. Nothing's changed. 30 years later, a slogan of the 2012 Democratic Party convention was, "The government is the only thing we all belong to."
I don't even have to look up the quotes at this point to realize they're out of context. If you just have a fucking brain in your head and you're not, mentally fucking retarded, then it's very obvious these are taken out of context. They're clearly used in the sense of, hey, we're all one big family. And, not some shit like, you belong to the government, your only family is the government. Like, bruh. And on an unrelated note, why the fuck does Dinesh D'Souza literally almost have the same voice as Stephen Colbert? Yo, did his alter ego come to life, bro?
It remains a common rhetorical theme of the left.
When the interwebs tried to swallow me whole. But I am proud to say that I got lodged in its throat and it hacked me back up like a hastily chewed chicken wing.
They might as well have been quoting Gentile. Now remember, Gentile was a man of the left. He was a committed socialist. For Gentile, fascism is a form of socialism, indeed, its most workable form. While the socialism of Marx mobilizes people on the basis of class, fascism mobilizes people by appealing to their national identity as well as their class. Fascists are socialists with a national identity.
But they aren't. Socialists believe workers are entitled to what their labor creates. Fascists don't. Fascists believe that the state is entitled to what their labor creates, or whoever is higher up than them. That's not socialism, dude. That's fascism.
German fascists in the 1930s were called Nazis, basically a contraction of the term National Socialist.
Hey Dinesh, did you know that North Korea is called the Democratic People's Republic of Korea? It's almost like certain countries choose names that tend to make them look better instead of, admitting that they're an authoritarian fascist. Well, I guess, North Korea's case, they're not fascist, but authoritarian shithole. Here's the thing, right? The Nazis were pretty corporatist. I mean, look at their relationship with Volkswagen. Literally any corporation that was willing to serve them, they were subsidizing the fuck out of. How are they socialists?
For Gentile, all private action should be oriented to serve society. There's no distinction between the private interest and the public interest. Correctly understood, the two are identical. And who is the administrative arm of society? It's none other than the state. Consequently, to submit to society is to submit to the state, not just in economic matters, but in all matters. Since everything is political, the state gets to tell everyone how to think and what to do. It was another Italian, Benito Mussolini, the fascist dictator of Italy from 1922 to 1943, who turned Gentile's words into action. In his Dottrina del Fascismo, one of the doctrinal statements of early fascism, Mussolini wrote, "All is in the state, and nothing human exists or has value outside the state." He was merely paraphrasing Gentile. The Italian philosopher is now lost in obscurity, but his philosophy could not be more relevant because it closely parallels that of the modern left. Gentile's work speaks directly to progressives who champion the centralized state. Here in America, the left has vastly expanded state control over the private sector, from healthcare to banking, from education to energy.
That's not fascism, you fucking moron. Fascism is a fucking authoritarian belief. Yes, it's got authoritarianism authoritarianism well embedded into it, but for the most part, it requires nationalism, like a nationalist root. That's not fascism. You know what is fascism? The Patriot Act. That's fascism. Like, here's the thing, I'm so sick of this. People would describe anything authoritarian as communist or fascist because they don't get what the fuck it means. They don't know what authoritarianism means, they don't know what communism means, and they don't know what fascism means. I'm so sick of this shit.
This state-directed capitalism is precisely what German and Italian fascists implemented in the 1930s.
Do I gotta say it? Do I have to fucking say it? Hold on. State-directed capitalism is a right-wing ideology, you fucking moron.
Leftists can't acknowledge their man Gentile because that would undermine their attempt to bind conservatism to fascism. Conservatism wants small government so that individual liberty can flourish.
Yep, conservatives are totally not known for wanting to continue the drug war and actually starting the drug war, wanting to go start wars in other countries, creating the Patriot Act, wanting to ban abortion, wanting to ban prostitution, wanting to ban gay marriage although they've lightened up on that, for the past 30, 40, 50 years. Couple hundred years maybe. No. They've definitely not known as the party that wants to push their fucking religion on you. No. Conservatives, never. I'm so sick of this. Conservatives are for small government. No, the fuck they aren't. Other than taxes, none of their fucking policies are ever for small government. They're usually for bigger government. They're for a fucking police state. They're for a religious fucking state. Conservatives are not for small government, other than maybe taxes. Ooh, and guns sometimes, but they'd keep them away from black people because they're racist. Like, bro, I'm so sick of this fucking shit. And I know I just made the argument that, certain places will try to call themselves something to look better, but you guys know conservative means strict, right? And liberal means loose.
The left, like Gentile, wants the opposite, to place the resources of the individual and industry in the service of a centralized state. To acknowledge Gentile is to acknowledge that fascism bears a deep kinship to the ideology of today's left. So they will keep Gentile where they've got him.
But it doesn't. Because fascism is not leftism. And these ideals haven't just switched over time, buddy. Like, literally, it's not the same fucking thing. Okay, here's the thing. Fascists, as you described, they want a centralized state where the state controls everything, where one man usually controls everything. Whereas communists, socialists, they want a state where the people who make the labor own the labor. Those are two very different concepts. And this isn't me talking. This isn't just me. You can ask political scientists this. Almost every political scientist. Ask a fucking historian. Because here's the thing, right? He's gonna make the argument that all of them are leftists, so they have a bias. Which is bullshit, because that's not true. There's no way they all can be leftists. He's just saying that because he doesn't want to be called on his bullshit. It's his fucking excuse to make.
Dead, buried, and forgotten. But we should remember, or the ghost of fascism will continue to haunt us. I'm Dinesh D'Souza for Prager University.
Well, guys, here's about 15 minutes of me basically responding to Dinesh D'Souza. I've thought about responding to him like a million times, but this is the first time I've actually done it on this channel. So leave a dislike, call me a fucking dick in the comments, and Slimber out.